Whoa! Oh, too far. Too far. Too far. I've got something big coming today. I'm really excited, but we're gonna tear apart this whole desk. You can probably figure out what the big thing is by the timing of when I'm posting this video. It's the studio display. I'm so excited for the studio display. I've never owned an Apple standalone monitor. I've obviously owned displays that they've made like on the iPad and the MacBook and stuff like that, but I've never owned an Apple standalone display, and I've used them and they're absolutely the most gorgeous monitors I've ever used. I've used a 5K iMac. I've never owned one, but I've used one and stuff like that, and the displays are beautiful. The color reproduction's perfect. So like I'm very, very excited for that. Past few months I've been using this LG 5K 2K. Friend of the channel, Sarah Dici, has talked about it, and that kind of got me interested. And then my pal Noah Herman, also another YouTuber, he talked me into buying this, and it was funny too because I kept telling him I'm not gonna buy anything because what if Apple releases a monitor in the spring event? And then we kept talking, got excited about this thing. I was like, okay, whatever. It was like right after Christmas. It was on sale. I was like, fine, I'll just order it. It's on sale, like whatever. Long behold, Apple spring event comes along and they release a monitor. But oh well, I have a good home that this monitor is going to, so it's not going to waste. So I don't feel bad about it. Today, or right now specifically, I am taking everything off my desk. I've been using these KRK monitors, these studio monitors. You can see these right here. I'm kind of wondering if the studio display is the speakers in it, if they truly are as good as Apple says they are. Can the studio display replace these studio monitors? We'll see. I hope so, because these aren't exactly the most elegant looking speakers. My brother, who's an audio engineer, he talked me into buying these because I needed something that wasn't just like monitor speakers, because the monitor speakers on this thing absolutely suck. All monitor speakers suck, but I'm curious about the studio display. So let's get into tearing my desk apart. Alright, so the desk is completely cleaned off. I've had a lot of people ask what this desk mat is. It's from a company called Grovemade. They've sent me stuff in the past, full disclosure, but I paid for this myself. This is the extra large version, but it's a little too long for my desk, and I couldn't get access to my cable management holes, so they probably wouldn't like this, but I cut holes in it so that it covers my whole desk. So like the whole desk stays protected and it looks nice, like it accents the light wood really nicely. But I can still put cables through the 3 holes. So that's nice. Now, we just got about 3-hour wait for the Apple Store to open and have my monitor ready. Go pick it up, put it together. I'm so excited. It's here, it's here. Whew, it's not light either. That was a very long walk from the Apple Store to my car in the parking lot. That was a very long walk, but who cares about that? Let's get this thing opened. Okay, so this thing is absolutely stunning. I got the tilt and height adjustable one because I'm 6'1" and no monitor stand ever is the correct height for me. So I'm really excited for this. Oh my gosh, this thing is beautiful. I've never owned an Apple monitor, like I said earlier, and I'm very excited for this. might cry. No, I'm just kidding. I'm not that bad. But let's get it all plugged in. Let's see what it looks like with, you know, a computer plugged into it. So the first computer I'm going to plug into this monitor is the new 5th generation iPad Air. This has been my main computer since I've got this, like a day after I got this. I did a whole video about it. I'll put a link to it in the description below, but I've been using this as my main computer for about a week now, a little over a week now. So even though this is a Thunderbolt monitor and this has USB-C, I've been told this should work. So I'm going to plug it in and let's see here. Heard it beep. I don't know if that got picked up on the mic. That's a good sign. Oh, sees it as, there we go. Hey, it works. That's fantastic. Oh my gosh, this looks amazing. This looks fantastic. Wow. Wow, this looks good. I am seriously impressed. I'm just like in awe of this. Like, let's pull up a video. Patrick here, he just did a video on the Batman.
I'm Chris Middleton with the Milwaukee Bucks, and I'm here in LA visiting one of my
favorite
small businesses.
Filmmaking industry, which is to make every shot look clean. But then that begs the question, what makes the Batman dirty? What's so unique about how the Batman was shot that makes it so beautiful? In this video, we're going to take a look at the approach Matt Reeves and Greg Fraser took to bring their Batman to life. The lenses they used.
Okay, this looks fantastic and amazing, and I am just super, super impressed. So it's Monday morning now, so I've been using this monitor for the past 3 days, and I took my time with this video because I had a lot of questions about how this monitor would work, especially for me because I've been using a lot larger monitors lately. I've been using two 32-inch monitors, one a 16:9 one, and then another one that was a 21:9. You saw it at the beginning of this video, the LG 5K 2K. So I was really concerned about going down to a 27-inch monitor, but then I also kind of wanted to see like what people were saying on the internet, like what people had questions about and stuff like that, so I could, you know, answer the general questions. So first off, like I said, this is a 27-inch monitor. It is a 5K resolution monitor, but the way Apple does things with Retina monitors, you just plug it into your Mac and, you know, use the default settings. It sets it to a Retina mode. So what that is it's a 2x mode. So technically the image you see here right now is 2560 by 1440. So it's half of 5K. What that gets you is a much sharper image. It's bigger, so if you're like me in your 30s and like your eyes aren't as good as they were when you were 18, it's a lot nicer that way. So I really like this. I just have it running in the default resolution. I like the Retina mode because it's just a lot sharper. So even though this is a 27-inch monitor, the LG 5K 2K is a 34-inch monitor. I think I might have said in the video a 32-inch. It's 34 for the record. If I say it anywhere else, I mean 34. This monitor right here has a much higher PPI, or pixel per inch. It's over 200. I think it's 216. I'm remembering off the top of my head. Don't quote me on that. The LG 5K 2K, it's a 34-inch monitor, and its pixel per inch is only, I think it's like in the 160s. I should have wrote those down before I recorded this, but I'm trying to make this a little more natural. Because this monitor is smaller and has a much higher pixel per inch density, a much higher PPI, it looks a lot sharper. So if you ever look at a monitor and like the fonts, like text or anything on it, that like it kind of looks blurry, it's probably because it has a low pixel per inch. The higher the pixel per inch, the sharper everything is going to be. So everything on this monitor is just super crisp and super sharp. There's not really a good way for me to demo that in video form, especially once you put it on YouTube. Compression gets a hold of everything and it just, you can't really do much about it. So you really kind of have to see it in person to understand. I hate giving that answer, but just know, like, when you're looking at monitors, resolution isn't everything. You want to make sure you check out pixels per inch, and you want to check out brightness as well, because a lot of monitors, like that BenQ 32-inch monitor I had, its normal SDR brightness was 250 nits, and its HDR brightness maxed out at 400 nits. This right here, even though it's not technically an HDR monitor, this is still 600 nits. So it's brighter in SDR content than my old BenQ monitor was when it was in HDR content. And that's the brightest it gets. So if you need a bright monitor or anything like that, this is the monitor to go for. Especially like if you're like me and you have a backlight or a window or something behind you, having a bright monitor is really important, especially in the afternoon. Also, from what I've been reading, this can technically display HDR content, but since it's backlit and it doesn't have like true local dimming options like the Pro Display XDR, keep in mind this is a third of the cost of the Pro Display XDR, so it's okay that it doesn't have that. It can still technically display HDR content, but it's just not going to look as good because you're not going to get those true blacks. So when buying the monitor, there are two options for the type of glass you can go with. There is the standard glass and the nano texture glass. I went with the standard glass. Ever since the Pro Display XDR, Apple has started using this nano texture, or a better way of thinking about it is a matte display. It's basically a display type that cuts down on light reflection. In fact, I use this angle right here for the shot so you can kind of see like right here. You can see the light reflecting. That's my big filming light. This is not a normal room light at all. This is not something what normal people would see, but I wanted to show, like, if you have a really bright office, if you have direct light shining on your monitor, you may want to get one of the nano texture ones, because what it does is it cuts down on that light reflection on the monitor. The reason why I stayed away from the nano texture one is in order to clean it, you have to use a special cloth. It's been that way since the Pro Display XDR, and when the 27-inch 5K iMac got that, RIP to a real one. It's been that way. You have to use a special cloth to clean it because of the texture. From what I understand, it will actually shred microfiber cloths, like normal microfiber cloths, and you'll get stuff stuck in the display. At least that's what I've been told. I don't know how true that is because I've never owned one. But on Apple's website, if you look at any of the nano texture displays, it always says you have to use the special cloth that comes with it. At least they ship one with it, but you know, that's still kind of a bummer. So I just went with the standard one. I don't really film my monitor screen too much, so I'm not really worried about the light reflection in the long run. If I'm doing a tutorial on the Mac or something like that, I typically just do screen recording stuff, so it's a lot easier for people to see in the video. But if you are somebody that works in a really bright office or has light shining directly on your monitor, it's really nice that the nano texture option is there. But just make sure you know not to use a standard microfiber cloth to clean it. So the design of this monitor is absolutely beautiful. I'm gonna turn this so you can kind of see it. I absolutely love this monitor, the way it looks, everything about it. Normally monitor stands are ugly. That's why a lot of people go the VESA mount option and stuff like that. Like I mentioned, I went with the height and tilt adjustable option. It's the more expensive option, but since I am 6'1", I knew the standard one would not work for me. The height and tilt one is perfect, and I'm really happy I went with it because you get this nice, beautiful stand. One thing that I found out after I bought this is with the VESA mount option, if you rotate it, the display will automatically rotate as well. So I was actually kind of wondering, I was like, maybe I should have went with a VESA option, and then if I ever did get a second one, I could get one of those dual VESA mount deals and I could turn one. But you know what, honestly, I'm happy with this stand right here. I really like it. I'm 6'1", and this is the height that I use it at, but it does go up even higher, so if you're taller than 6'1", there is more height to it if you want to sit ergonomically. Here, I will just go like that. That's too tall for me. I like it right about here. That's ergonomic. So if you're talking about ergonomics, your eyes should be looking kind of at the top section right here, and then you look down. You don't want to be looking up. You don't want to be looking too far down. So you want your eyes to be kind of like right about here in the top 1/3 section. But yeah, the stand, it moves super elegantly. It moves down, it moves up, tilts back, tilts forward. It moves very nice. The foot looks really good. What I like about it, so I have like my Stream Deck sitting on it and stuff like that. I need to play with the cable management stuff. The cables that I have for this setup are a little too short, so I had to order a couple of extra cables. So what you see on the desk is not my final setup at all. So in the next couple days I have some cables coming, so I'm gonna tear all this apart and like fix it up and make it look really nice. So I'm not gonna do a desk tour or anything in this video just because this isn't the final setup at all. So my biggest complaint about the monitor so far, and it's kind of stupid really, the Thunderbolt cable that ships with it is way too short. It's too short. For a $2,000 monitor, I mean, that's what this configuration is. You can get some for $1,600 or you can go more expensive, but even for a $1,600 monitor, the Thunderbolt cable that ships with this thing is way too short, especially if you were going to use two of them. So if I had like a second one over here, the Thunderbolt cable, there is no way it would have reached from the monitor to my MacBook Pro that's right here. So Apple, if you're watching next version or when you get, can revise these, include a longer Thunderbolt cable. The one that comes with it is just too short. The other thing that this monitor does that is pretty nice is going to be really nice for most people is it has auto brightness and true tone. So auto brightness obviously will measure the light of the room and adjust appropriately for the brightness of the display. And then true tone shifts the white balance of the screen. So if you have a really blue room, it shifts the white balance, or if your room is really warm, it'll shift the white balance. So that way you're not being blasted with blue light constantly. So that's nice. But as somebody that does a lot of photo editing, as a photographer, does video editing, obviously, and stuff like that, I do a lot of color grading. I do not want anything shifting the monitor in any way, the brightness or the color. So I turn both of those features off. If you do anything that relies on having accurate color, do not use those features. It's nice for people like if you're a developer or something like that, and maybe if you do UI work, that might not be a good thing. But if you're just writing code, if I was just using this to like write blog posts or write scripts or something like that, I would definitely leave those features on. But since I'm doing a lot of color grading and photo work, no, those features have to be turned off for me. In fact, they're off on my MacBook Pro, they're off on my iPad Air and iPad Pro. Like I turn them off across the board. The only device I leave auto brightness and true tone on is my iPhone because I don't do any real color grading or anything here. So I don't have to worry about it too much. But everything else, those get turned off. I talked at the beginning of the video, I was curious if the speakers on this would be good enough to replace my KRK Studio monitors. For monitor speakers, they're amazing. They are the best monitor speakers I have ever heard. But they're not quite good enough to replace my KRKs. For those that don't know, studio monitors, like people that do mixing and audio and stuff like that, they use those so you get real crisp, clean audio. And then that way you can really, hear the separation in tracks and stereo and all that stuff that I don't fully understand. My brother, who's an audio engineer, he just tells me what to get and then like helps me with audio stuff. Audio is definitely the place that I need to improve the most, I feel. But it's fine. I'm going to leave the KRKs off my desk for a few more days, for a few more videos to see if I can really tell a difference. What I probably will end up doing is I'll put them back on my desk and I'll switch between the KRKs and the studio display here. If you watch my Stream Deck video, I have a handy button on here, so I can literally, with one button press, I can jump between the KRKs and the studio display speakers, just back and forth really quickly. I'll link to that video in the description below. If you're not doing any sort of audio editing, podcasting, music, video, anything like that, if you're just like playing audio, like if you're just playing back music, like listening to it through Apple Music or Spotify, or if you're like listening to a podcast or a noise app like Dark Noise or Endel or something like that, I think these are going to be fine for most people. I honestly, I really do. They're the best monitor speakers I've ever heard. If you're using monitor speakers now, these are going to be an improvement over whatever you have, unless you have some like fancy artisanal monitor or something like that, that I don't know. But I think for most people, these are going to be fine. As far as the webcam and the microphone go, well, that's this right here. I'm talking to you through the webcam and using the microphone on the studio display. As you can see, the webcam, just like all the other reviews say, doesn't look great. In fact, it kind of looks like hot garbage. Hot garbage. That was weird. Anyways, Apple says they're working on a fix for it, and hopefully it's out soon, and hopefully it is just a software issue. They said it's a bug that got introduced at the last minute. Things happen. People make mistakes. It's totally okay. It's not the end of the world, especially if they can fix it. The microphone, though, from the FaceTime calls and the stuff that I've recorded previously, I think sounds pretty good. So I like it. So if Apple is able to fix the webcam on the studio display, the webcam mixed with the microphone, mixed with the speakers, gives you a nice video call setup if you are someone that does a lot of video calls. Or if you want to record a short little video like this, it's not a bad setup, especially, you know, if you're already getting the studio display. Here's a camera, a microphone, and speakers. So a little earlier in the video, I showed the iPad Air 5 plugged into this monitor. I've got a little bit of clarification when it comes to iPad support with this monitor. So this monitor is Thunderbolt, but it does work with USB-C devices like the iPad Air 5. But it doesn't work with the iPad Air 4, the one from 2020. And the reason being is it needs that faster USB-C port that ships with the new 2022 iPad Air. So the iPads that are supported with this monitor are the 12.9-inch one, the 3rd generation and up, basically the 2018 redesign when it got the USB-C port. That's the 10 gigabit per second USB-C port, and then obviously the newest one has Thunderbolt. All of the 11-inch iPad Pros, again, those older ones have the 10 gigabit per second USB-C port, and then the new ones obviously have Thunderbolt as well. And then with the iPad Air, it's just this 5th generation 2022 one. Those are the ones that work. You can see it right on Apple's website, the compatibility section. So what makes me a little hopeful for iPad monitor support in the future is this. Like, hey, why did Apple, upgrade the speed of the iPad Air USB-C port? Like, I don't think anyone was saying it needed to be the faster USB-C port. I think, sure, that's a great, nice feature. It makes me hopeful that they put that in there because of this monitor, because of monitor support. And hey, the iPad Pro got Thunderbolt. You know what other display is Thunderbolt? Pro Display XDR. So I'm hopeful that iPadOS 16 will see true monitor support for the iPad. Pretty please. So I'm really happy with this monitor right now. I like the 5K Retina resolution. Maybe I'm a bit bougie, but having that true Retina monitor is just so nice. I've also been using it with my laptop on a laptop stand too, so that way I can have dual monitors. I got this one at the Apple Store just because they happened to have one day one. I also had one on order, but it wasn't going to ship until the end of March, beginning of April. I canceled that order, and I'm kind of kicking myself for canceling it because I would love to have 2 of these. Like I said, I've been using bigger monitors, so 27 inches isn't a ton of space, but it would be really cool to have 2 of these, so like when I'm editing video, I can have my notes up on the other monitor and stuff like that. That was one of the really nice things about the LG 5K 2K is it was really wide, so I could have both Final Cut and my notes open at the same time. That was really cool, but I would rather have a true Retina monitor over that. So that's it for this video. That's kind of my initial thoughts on the studio display. I really like it. Let me know in the comments below if you got one or what monitor setup you're using and if you like it or not. Thank you all so much for watching. If you liked the video, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe if you haven't already, and have a great day.